Today's lesson is solving three-step inequalities. There are three types of three-step inequalities. One where we have multiple x's on one side of the inequality. One where we have x's on both sides of the inequality. And one where we need to use distribution. Let's start with the like terms on one side of the inequality, examples 1 and 2. The first step would be to add the like terms together, just like when we solved three-step equations with equal signs. So it would be 108 is greater than 7x and 7x is 14x plus 10. Now it's just a two-step equation where we will start by subtracting 10 from both sides. 108 minus 10 is 98. And then we would divide both sides by 14. So my solution would be 98 divided by 14 is 7. Now, the variable is on the right-hand side of the inequality. So remember, when you read this inequality, we read from the variable to the number. So this would be x is less than 7. If that is confusing, you could rewrite this answer with the x on the left-hand side. We just have to be sure that the arrow is still pointing at the x. So over here, if I point the arrow at the x, now it says x is less than 7. Just like this one said, x is less than 7. Either one of these is considered correct. For example 2, I have 4x and 5x on the same side of the inequality. I can add them together since they are like terms. 4x plus 5x is 9x. I keep the 10 and I keep the 19. Now I simply solve this for x. It has become a two-step equation. I would start by subtracting 10 from both sides, and then divide both sides by 9. Now you'll notice in both of our first two examples, I did not have to change the direction of the inequality because I did not divide by a negative number. We still have to be aware of that. If solving three-step equations involves multiplying or dividing by a negative number, you will have to change the direction of the symbol. Examples 3 and 4 are solving when there's an x on both sides of the inequality. If you remember from before, when we solved equations with x's on both sides, our first step is to move the smallest x to the other side of the inequality. X is smaller than 5x, so I'm going to move x over here. Since the x is positive, I'm going to subtract it from both sides. Now this becomes a simple two-step equation, inequality. I'm going to add 6 to both sides, and then divide both sides by 4. Since I divided both sides by a positive number, I do not have to switch the sign. This is why I taught you in the beginning, when we're solving with x's on both sides, to always move the smallest x. By doing that, we keep the x term positive, so that when I divide, I don't have to worry about changing the direction of the symbol. Here's number 4. Again, I have x's on both sides of the inequality. I'm going to move the smallest x first. So negative 7x is smaller than 5x, so I will move that to the other side. This side has 8 less than or equal to. Negative 5x plus 7x is 2x, and then plus 28 stays. Now it is the simple two-step equation. Subtract 28 from both sides. 8 minus 28 is negative 20. And now divide both sides by 2. Because I divided both sides by a positive 2, the symbol does not change. And again, these two solutions are written with the x on the right-hand side. Recall that these are read from the variable. So x is less than or equal to 3. If you wish to rewrite them with the x on the left, just remember the arrow needs to point in the same direction it did over here. So here it's pointing towards the x, over here it must point towards the x. So this reads x is less than or equal to 3. This reads x is less than or equal to 3. And I can rewrite this one as well. Notice the arrow is pointing towards the negative 10 on this side. If I rewrite it over here, I must point the arrow at the negative 10. Both of these would be considered correct. Now, 5 and 6 are distribution problems. So the first step is I must distribute the negative 2 to both terms in parentheses. So negative 2 times negative 1 is 2x, and negative 2 times negative 6 is positive 12. Now it is a simple two-step equation. Subtract 12 from both sides. I get 2x is greater than or equal to negative 12. Divide both sides by 2. I get x is greater than or equal to negative 6. Since I divided by a positive 2, I did not have to change the direction of the inequality. For 6, I'm going to draw my rainbows below, because I ran out of room. I distribute the 4 to both terms in parentheses. 4 times 10 is 40. 4 times negative 7x is negative 28x, is greater than negative 72. Again, this is a simple two-step equation now. I will subtract 40 from both sides first. This 40, remember, is positive right here, so I need to subtract 40. 72 minus 40 is negative 112. My next step would be to divide by negative 28. Notice that negative sign stays with the 28 when I bring it down. So I divide both sides by negative 28. Notice since I divided both sides by negative 28, the inequality must switch directions. So my final answer is x is less than 4. So solving three-step inequalities is very similar to solving three-step equations, which we did in our first unit. The only thing you need to remember is if you have to divide or multiply by a negative number on both sides of an inequality, the direction of the inequality must change. Otherwise, all the steps are the same as we did back in Unit 1.